Welcome to Laptop Powerwall episode 23, the front panel. And here it is. I've just got one coat of paint on it at this point, but I slapped it up on the wall just to see what it would look like. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. As you can see, I've copied the Tesla Powerwall shape, but stretched it a bit to fit my battery pack. And also my panel is flat, whereas the Tesla Powerwall has a very elegant contour shape that gives it a bit of a hint of a car look to it. You may also notice that the font I'm using is based on the Tesla logo. I think it was Picasso who said, "I don't copy other people's ideas, I steal them and make them my own." In my case, I'm no Picasso. This design is more of a homage to the Tesla designers. This panel is actually my very first laser cut project, and it's turned out quite well, and was much easier than I expected it. So I thought I would show you how I did it. First of all, I went to Google Images, and searched for Tesla Powerwall. Found myself a nice flat face-on image, which I saved. Then I Googled Tesla font and found a font called Tesla Nicola Caps by a guy Shane Milburn. Thank you very much, Shane. So I downloaded that and installed it. Then I opened my trusty old copy of Freehand 9, which I've had lying around forever, and it still works, and it produces the kind of files that the laser cutter service needs. So these days you would use something like Adobe Illustrator, or there's an open source version called Inkscape, which is good for creating 2D images using Bezier lines, which is what the laser cutter follows. Anyway, starting with a blank page, I resized the page to be 100 millimeters larger than the box that I built a couple of weeks ago to house the battery. Then I drew a box of the outside diameters of the box that I made, the wooden box I made, and added an extra 10 millimeters around the outside to give myself a bit of extra space. Then I imported the Powerwall image and stretched it to fit over my box, made some lines that traced the outline of the image. So that's going to be the laser cutting outline of my panel. Then I wanted to do the logo, I wanted to do a logo that kind of matched the Tesla logo, so I typed in some letters to create my logo and converted that to the Tesla font, which looks like that. Now, turns out that Shane, who made this font, implemented the backwards E that Tesla sometimes uses, but I must confess I didn't actually like that. But Shane also did lowercase letters slightly different, and he did a lowercase e with the 3 lines, which I much prefer. So I switched to the lowercase letters, got something that I liked with generous letter spacing, and zooming out, having a look at that, turned off the background image and turned off the guidelines. I added a bit of a grey background so I could get a feel for how it might look, and I think it's looking pretty good. Then, in order to simplify things for the laser cutting service, I converted the text that I'd used to outline paths. What that means is that I don't have to send the Tesla font to the cutting service, because that can often lead to complications, confusion. Somehow their system doesn't read the font and it substitutes something else and it all turns to custard. So it's much easier if you just convert the text to outlines, and then those things that look like letters actually just become a bunch of lines that the laser can follow. So that is looking pretty good. Turned off the grey background and removed the white fill, so that now all that's there is the outline of the panel and the outline of the font. And the one thing that I always do before sending off to usually a printer, in my case, but this time a laser cutting service, is I do a select all so that I can see if there's anything left on the page or off to the side, any little element that I've forgotten about and accidentally pasted without realizing. I do a select all, or Control A, just to see that I've got everything and there's nothing weird going on. That all looks fine, so then I can export that to an encapsulated PostScript file, save that, and then that file is what I send to the laser cutter. As it turns out, grabbed that file and it was all nice and clear and simple and straightforward. It was already the right size, there was no fills or double ups or complications, so that worked really well. And in my case, I used a local sign making service here where I live called Grayleaf Plastics and Laser Cutting just down the road. And it cost me 63 New Zealand dollars, which is about 43-ish American dollars. If you're in America or Europe or anywhere larger than New Zealand, you'll probably get a cheaper price than that. And that's it. It was that simple. 3 days later, I went down there, picked it up, and hey presto, end result was really good. And there you have it. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.